Okay, thank you, everybody. Item 17 is the reconsideration of public comment policy, and I'll turn the time over to Council Member Garcia.
What we voted on was whether or not we would read public comments that were submitted electronically. And I can safely say that many of my colleagues, staff members, many members of the public who have spoken to since then can say that it is not working. Yes. So my specific motion is to stop reading public comments. Having our city clerk read the public comments, but however, had it added into our public record, and that allow the city clerk to give a summary of what was written in.
So I will second that motion and then ask for any public comments to be read.
Yes.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I am definitely opposed to this motion. There are many people that would like to come to these meetings, and for a variety of reasons, they can't. We talk about a diverse community and people that come to our city wanting to have a voice. So I don't want to change what we have been doing. I highly recommend that we allow, for people who cannot come personally for a wide variety of reasons, to say, I'm going to go online and I'm going to sit down and write, and I would love to have someone, the city clerk, be able to tell the people here exactly what I want to express. And the city clerk, being articulate, can take his time and make sure that that person who submitted that request will be heard.
I do think this is an equity issue. If I understand this correctly, you'd be summarizing. Your proposal is to summarize the comments, and I think that becomes subjective. I don't know if you're trying to save time, if there's a time issue, why you're even proposing this. But I think the people need to be heard, and we need to encourage community input and participation. Thank you.
It really is silliness to state that the voice of the people is not being heard. No, it's just not being read.
I live in Escondido for many years. You are our elected representatives. You represent the people of Escondido. And any decision that you make will help or hurt the residents of our city. Representing our community, it means that you might have to walk around the streets or the neighborhood of your city. It means that you might have to talk and listen to your constituents. It means that you might have to listen to the public comments to be read aloud. And yes, I understand that it might be a little uncomfortable, but if you are better informed, you can help your community. Reading aloud public comments from the people that cannot make it in person to the chamber should not be an issue. They're also taxpayers, and it is the chamber's obligation to hear the voices of the residents.
I'm a resident of District 4. Please do not reverse the policy of reading electronically submitted comments during the City Council meetings. I'm not sure what has happened that has led Mr. Garcia to change his vote and bring this issue up again as an agenda item. Reading comments does not add that much more time to the meetings.
I'm sure my colleagues like me are very responsive and accessible to people who call in or write to them directly. I know that I read all of my emails and I answer almost all of them. So the communication and people's being able to express concerns is there.
I know you receive emails. I know you receive phone calls. But this is the only way for us as citizens to hear from our fellow citizens as well. I mean, and as a united group, we hope to make you or help you make decisions.
The remaining comments for this item have been submitted online. Just as I was during the August 16th meeting, I'm unable to attend in person tonight council meeting. I'm terribly disappointed in Christian Garcia, who says that it is his honor to serve and yet wants to take away the voice of those who cannot, for a variety of reasons, appear in person at the council meetings. My inability to be able to attend meetings is due to taking care of my 2-year-old grandchild. Many others have mobility issues or vision issues and cannot drive or cannot drive at night. I find it very discouraging that the voices of numerous constituents will not be heard if you get rid of the policy of reading comments into the record. The policy of allowing members of the public to submit written comments and then to have the comments read into the record does not add much time, if any, to the meetings. The policy allows for a much wider view of what is important to members of our community, and it ensures that all of the council members hear all of the opinions submitted by the public. Modifying the policy, as you are suggesting, will not ensure all council members have read each of the comments submitted. This would be a disservice to the entire community, as it will prevent those members of the community to have their opinions heard. So Councilmember Garcia wants to change his vote to prevent online comments from being read to the city council members during city council meetings. First, you voted in favor of massively increasing your campaign donation limits, then you voted raising water rates, and now you want to silence the citizens of Escondido. We pay you to listen to us. If that's an inconvenience, feel free to resign. Honestly, your job does not make that hard. It is important to hear from all of our Escondido residents. Continue the practice of reading electronic comments by the city clerk during open session. I am disappointed that Councilmember Christian Garcia resubmitted this agenda item because it signals he no longer values public comment, and now he does not want to hear from everyone. I wish that all council members know and value the importance of hearing all public comments, those made in person and those submitted electronically, from those who care enough about conditions in Escondido to actually prepare written or oral communications and actively participate. Informed stakeholders want council members to continue the practice of reading electronic comments aloud by the city clerk during open sessions unless they choose to speak for themselves. An informed electorate deserves action by elected officials who are fully informed. The current practice is fair and is valued by local stakeholders. This is an equity issue to make sure all voices are heard. For many reasons, not everyone can attend council meetings in person because it is a hardship, or, for example, most seniors feel unsafe when driving in darkness at night. Hello, Mayor and City Council. I'm unable to attend tonight because I have a class, but I am grateful that I can submit a comment to be read out loud. When you all took the oath of office, you signed up to hear from we the people. You are all the public servants who should care about what our voters want. As a young leader, I am surprised that Mr. Christian Garcia would want to take an opportunity to hear from voters. If you are planning to run in 2024, this will not look good on your voting record. You say it is your honor to serve, and this is how you demonstrate it. Do the right thing and keep the current policy. Public leaders should not shy away from hearing from the public whether or not they agree with us. For those that vote to do away with this policy, you don't deserve to serve in public office. Hello, Mayor and City Council. I'm writing to urge you to keep the public comment policy as is. Allowing written public comments to be read out loud encourages participation from people who are otherwise unable to participate. There are a number of reasons someone may choose to submit their comment electronically. Work commitments, childcare commitments, illness, and lack of transportation are among them. For many people, it may be their only option to raise concerns or show support for an agenda item in a public manner. Although the proposed policy would have those comments recorded in the minutes, everyone's voice deserves to be heard by the public, and the voices of our workers, families, and senior citizens should be heard among those who are unable to attend and register their comments in person. It is the right thing to do. The City Council already voted on this issue and should uphold their previous vote. It helps all people watching the City Council meetings to understand all citizens' points of view. The council members should be reminded, if they are already read the comments, how many and what various interested parties have written. Trying to change this policy is basically wanting to limit the public opinion to only allowing a specific demographic to have a voice in what happens in their city. City council members should be for the constituents, all of them, not just a select few. If we change this policy, we are telling the group of people that their voice does not matter and they have to say in what happens in their city, and they live, work, and pay taxes there. You are deciding that the group of people who work hard and cannot take time off or have a flexible work schedule or childcare are not worthy of a public opinion. Restricting public comment on Escondido city business to only live in person at city council meetings is an affront to citizens of the city and a message to voters that their opinions don't matter. Council meetings already are at a time that conflicts with working Escondidans' schedules, and in the in-person process is confusing and overly controlled. Maintaining electronic public comment is vital for representation in our city. Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. Councilmember Christian Garcia's recent request to revisit the vote regarding public comments read out loud at City Council meetings because he changed his mind on the vote is very disturbing. It appears that someone got to him about his vote on the August 16th meeting where the Council voted to allow the public comments to remain as is. I remind those members who have been lobbying to deny the public active participation in issues before the City that agenda item discussions and decisions representing the overall public interests of the City are greatly enhanced by the knowledge, experience, and insights of the public, and is most valuable when heard prior to discussion on agenda items. Attendance at the meetings is not always possible for many Escondido residents. Job schedules, family obligations, and inability to drive in the evening are unavoidable issues in the way of attendance. The voices expressing the pros and cons of a given issue are also valuable to participant residents to present electronically. It informs and brings the community together as participants in city matters that are important. Community participation in city affairs are of the essence of a good governing and should be facilitated, not denied by council members who do not always hear what they want to hear. I urge the council to maintain the decision of August 16th. Meetings are already inaccessible to the majority of Escondido community due to time, limiting commentary to in-person, and removing visual audio support looks like a calculated and intentional way to further marginalize and exclude the citizens of the city. Keep electronic commentary, find ways to make the meetings more accessible to all. Can you continue reading public comments in person or electronically during open session? This is very important to members of the community who would like to participate and to know what is happening in our city. Some of us are unable to drive after dark because of poor eyesight or don't have transportation. It is so easy to go online and view the meeting and submit a comment. Thank you for consideration in this matter. On August 16, 2023, the council voted 4-1 to keep oral communications at the beginning of the city council meetings and to continue reading aloud electronically submitted comments. We sent you a letter following that meeting, specifically lauding the decision about reading electronically submitted public comments. We believe you set an exemplary model for how to treat electronically submitted public comment. Thus, we find it surprising and disappointing that barely 3 months later, you are prepared to rescind this decision despite most, if not all, the public comment you received on August 16, 2023, favoring the practice of reading e-comments aloud. We urge you to reject the proposed resolution amending Section 6 of the Council Policies and Rules of Procedure. Listening to public comment is a fundamental aspect of being an elected official. Taking the time to hear e-comments read by the city clerk should be considered part of the job and not an onerous burden that needs to be eliminated. As always, we thank you for your attention and your service to our community. Given today's working culture, the most effective way to hear from constituents is via electronic comment submission. Resident of Escondido since 1974, and I've been coming to city council meetings since 20 years ago. However, I am unable to make the meetings, and I'm in favor of the public comments being read into the record. I feel it is vital for people who cannot make the meetings to have a voice, and the only way we have a voice is through the public comment. I know that it was approved in August, and Christian Garcia has brought it back up, and I find that suspect. Once again, I am in favor of continuing the practice of reading comments into the record. I do not see this as a big issue. I'm wondering why the City Council wants to silence the voices of the community. Do not forget that you are all in that seat to represent us, the community. This issue was reviewed earlier this year. Please vote against it. Do not silence our voices. Do not make civil participation even more inaccessible. And that is everything that we have so far.
The commentary that this is stifling the public, stifling residents, stifling constituents is just it's really ridiculous. It's not happening, not even close. And I'm completely in favor of that because I'm against radical agendized groups and or individuals attempting to hijack the meeting for something that has nothing to do with the business meeting of the city of Escondido, because that's what this is. This is the business meeting of the city of Escondido, not an open public forum.
There was a lot of factors that went into this decision of bringing it back up, but 2 weeks ago what we had several dozen people come in, and they needed to hear how one of our decisions was going to directly affect their lives and their livelihoods. And they had to sit around for almost an hour. What's happening is that we're getting a lot of people who write in multiple times.
Tonight, there are over 50 comments submitted online on a topic that in no way concerns the city of Escondido. A good portion of those comments are from residents outside of the city of Escondido.
In the beginning, we normally read public comment, and that was not done today. So I wanted to know why that was.
To reiterate what Councilmember Garcia just said, the people who are here for legitimate business don't need to sit through that for 3 hours.
Okay, so so I'm assuming that's allowed because we've not done that before, or are those going to be read later?
I have the authority to move non-agenda comments to the end of the meeting.
Okay, so those will be read at the end of the meeting then?
That depends on this vote.
I see. Being that was moved, does this go into effect immediately, or does there need to be like a second reading on this?
No, this is a resolution, so it's effective immediately.
Okay, thank you. So for me, I haven't heard any members of the public say they don't want this policy. That, in fact, on the contrary, I've heard that it's convenient. I do value public input. In the workforce, there's more of a hybrid model for people to participate. So I think this is in line with kind of what the future holds for public engagement. And what I'm hearing from the public, both written and here today, is that they want to keep this policy. I have not heard a person saying we shouldn't. The only folks that I'm hearing that from is some of my colleagues. So I support keeping the current public policy. And I don't mind listening to you all, and I'll be here until midnight. I'll be here until 1 a.m. That's what I signed up for. Being a public servant is not an inconvenience for me. It's a space for dialogue. It's dialogue and civic engagement, and that is a beautiful thing. I want more people to get involved. I'm always telling people, get involved in your own backyard. Get involved in government. Get involved. So I will do everything to expand more people participating in that. I will not do anything to limit that. And I feel like reconsidering this policy limits it, and I want to go above and beyond what any other agency does. That's how I govern. I go above and beyond, and I set the example of what I want a public servant to be. So I strongly oppose changing this, and those are my comments. And thank you for those of you who show up to talk to us about any issue through any medium. I really do value your input.
Appreciate the comments. I know you're passionate about it. I guess what I should have done is I should have gone onto social media and advertised this like others have done, just because you want to make sure that everyone knows what your position is. Don't think that you allude to the fact that your ability to hear what people have to say, in your desire to hear what people have to say, and your manner of interacting with people and engaging with people is so much different and so superior.
I have had several people come and comment to me saying that we were prioritizing the views of other people, other outside actors, over the people of Escondido.
To contend that you are the only one that cares is absolutely wrong. And with that, I will call for the vote.
And since you all, some of you,
moving on.
I did not say that, so don't put words in my mouth.
We are moving on.
You absolutely did. Virtue signal.
Motion approved, 3-2. Deputy Mayor Garcia and Councilor Martinez, no.
I went to high school here in Escondido. I'm very much a local, and I'm here to tell you that Palestine is an issue for the people of Escondido. We have Palestinian people who live in our city. We need to consider their opinions and their perspectives. And frankly, it's our tax money that's being used to pay for this war, this genocide, this apartheid that's going on. So that's why it is our city's business. And other city councils like Richmond have passed resolutions supporting Palestine. We can do the same thing. It cost the council absolutely nothing to be on the right side of history, to issue a statement in support of the Palestinian people and condemning the genocide. We've all seen children buried under rubble. We've seen doctors targeted. We've seen journalists specifically targeted, and censorship of the footage that's coming out of Gaza. I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional because this is very upsetting to me. I also want to say, I think it's ridiculous that all of you are cutting off the city council comments. Someone asked why this is happening, and I can tell you exactly why it's happening. It's because the people are speaking up about Palestine, and rather than doing the right thing, this council has decided to try to silence the citizens of the city. And frankly, I think it's silly, because it's a lot easier to sit through 15 minutes of public comments being read out than it is to deal with a huge crowd in your office of angry protesters. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
I stand before you today as a therapist in the community. I'm disheartened by the comments made tonight that the issue I'm bringing forward is not relevant to the city of Escondido. I feel that this council may not realize that there is a Palestinian diaspora in Escondido which this matters greatly to. If these people do not reside in Escondido, I'm sure some of them work in Escondido and contribute to the culture and the community. Overall, I do believe this issue does impact Escondido as it impacts people. The trauma that the Palestinians have endured over their lifetime is something that I know would be beyond my abilities and, frankly, the abilities of most of my colleagues. A 15-year-old child in Gaza has lived through 4 armed aggressions against them and their people, this latest aggression being one of the most violent and atrocious acts perpetrated on these people. There are several reputable and experienced therapists and mental health practitioners around the world who say that they don't know how they could help the children of Gaza through the trauma they have endured. They say in Gaza, the diagnosis of post-traumatic stress disorder, something we use to diagnose veterans from combat, sex trafficking victims, and others who have experienced intense trauma, is not an accurate diagnosis for Gazans because there in Gaza, the trauma never comes to an end. Please do what is in your power to help bring an end to this latest unimaginable trauma for the children of Gaza. Please work to end this genocide of Palestinians and put forth a resolution on behalf of Escondido calling for a ceasefire for the children who have suffered the unimaginable. I thank you for your time.
I have been a resident of Escondido for almost 7 years. I am here today because it is imperative that the city of Escondido support a ceasefire in Gaza. You say this has nothing to do with Escondido. You say these comments have no place in a business meeting, and I frankly do not care that these comments in your business meetings are annoying you. The people of Gaza are more important. Our tax dollars are funding a genocide. The death toll is currently 12,000 and rising. The IDF is bombing hospitals, maternity wards, civilian housing, etc. Thousands of citizens are displaced from their homes. The IDF is using white phosphorus as a weapon, which is an international war crime. This genocide will not go unnoticed or swept under the rug. Again, I urge Escondido to join other cities in California in calling for a ceasefire. This cannot happen any longer. Thank you.
I wasn't really prepared to speak today because I didn't know. This is the first time I've done something like this. So I'm just going to speak from my heart. I am an immigrant in this country, and I just want to say, if, Mr. Garcia, Mr. White, Ms. Martinez, Mr. McGlynn, Mr. Morasco, Mr. Garcia, Mr. McGinnis, Mr. Beck, if your homes were being bombed, if you were losing family members and you were the victims of war crimes, I would fight for you too, because that is what humanity is. And I apologize I didn't prepare something, but I'm jumping on this opportunity to use my voice. I care for the people of Escondido. I care for the people outside of it. I wish everyone was like this. And that's really all that I have to say. All I'm pleading is, please care. Thank you.
No further public comments.
Thank you. I am adjourning to the next City Council meeting on December 6th, 2023.